Waiting just to see the live link go into the recap. Anybody? Michael, my trusted confidant, should be putting the link into the recap so you guys can watch it live. I'm waiting to see the link so then I can start it. Up, here we go. Cool. Let's get a little music on, right? Let's see what kind of music we could do. I know I have to be careful because Mike says if I put on music and it's not okayed, they're gonna throw us off of YouTube, which we don't want to do. But I have some free music to put us in a little bit of a mood. Let's see what that is. Let's do some of my running music. No, that's a little bit clubby. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. All right, guys. What happened, Steve? Anyway, okay. Take a look at the disclosure and let's get going here. It is 4/12, March 24th. Red Dogs recap coming in. What a big day, big day. Only if you're on the right side of it. My name is Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. I'm sitting here in my Short Hills office. See, forehead is as big and glossy as ever. And here we go, ready to do the recap. Wow, what a day, huh? Came in this morning. Again, tried to keep everyone cool. A lot of people weren't that long. I know that we sold puts in the course of the past, yesterday. We were selling 180 puts. We were selling 190 puts. And those puts that we sold were pennies on the dollar at some point this afternoon. And I wound up actually taking some of them. So, you come in sometimes, you have a big gap up, it's tricky. Yesterday I feel like they did the rope-a-dope, which made people not want to buy today, which is why today was buyable. Yesterday they came out with the Fed news, they spiked the futures. You thought if you bought it pulling it'd be good, and it turned into a disaster. And then today, market opened up into pretty much resistance one, held for a little bit. You had some time to buy a few things, and you had a nice push into lunchtime. And then I did a midday call discussing on how between like 1 o'clock and 2:30, we're probably going to get some margin selling for the mere fact that we've had a lot of down days and people are having a hard time coming up with money. So the margin clerk calls the broker calls, investor ABC and says, hey, are you coming in with that few $100,000 or am I selling your stock? Today's an up day. It's a great day to sell it. You're not selling when it's down. And they sell stock, puts pressure on. All of a sudden, market goes lower into 2:30, and then Red Dog sends you a tweet saying, hey, I just bought SPYs at what was it, 235.50, and now here we are 244 after hours, and that's just like that's just a pull-in trade besides all the other things we did throughout the course of the day. So hopefully everyone had a good day, but again, don't sell. You can celebrate a little bit. I'm having a Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee, but don't get over your skis, because again, these ranges are big, and hopefully you didn't take too much risk overnight, because we've seen these historic days that half gets taken back the day after the other way. So you got to be careful. That's why I don't have that many stocks on. I'm still in the selling puts, theme, because it's a way of being long from a lot lower. But then again, you need to know that you can be put whatever it is you're short through puts. So you got to do it the right way. So with that said, let's go right to here's the SPY or the S&P. Here's a SPY. So here now is your gap. Okay, so now this is your new gap. Okay, if we hold here, go sideways, chances are we get through this. There's really not much until 270, 272. That's why I came up with that. Is if we go for a week or so, that's your big area. Okay, some guys are like, there's no friggin' way we're getting there. Everything around the world is closing. India, 1.3 billion guys are now quarantined, which is true. Maybe we don't. That's why we're going to take trades along the way. But I'm just throwing out there that, now we have a new active potential sequence where here's your first gap up, and the low here now is 233.80. If we're going to hold 233.80, which is a long way down from here, that means we're down 100,000 points on the open. But hopefully that's not the case. That keeps us intact. I would think most people would probably like a little bit of follow through tomorrow. But again, it's still a little bit from that today. Actually, not really. If you think about the range, these are how big the ranges are. So this morning I said, hey, resistance one, we touch it first time, it could be a pause. Next time it could be buyable, and it turned out to be both. Right around here, midday is when I tweeted to you guys saying, hey, I'm long here. And I think I tweeted before that saying if the market's any good, it should hold somewhere between 238 and 236. It went to 235, so that's why I wanted to tell you I bought there and didn't use it as a stop. And then we had a nice move, and that also held the morning gap. So this is your big pro gap. So maybe this will control the move for a few days unless it gets filled. If it gets filled tomorrow, that's it. Misdirection back and forth, we'll even be that much more careful. If we get a little follow through tomorrow, that would be nice. Now this 244, 247 is changed. Why did it change? Because we have a new point of reference right here. This point of reference for today, 244.10. 244.10 is today's high. We'll see. Do we open above it tomorrow? Do we open below it tomorrow? I don't know. But we'll see. We have the president with the task force today. You have Congress coming up with some kind of deal. You have a lot going on. So we'll see. I guess you could kind of say this is a small little level. It's really not that, not big. This is more move. This is actually moving down now. What's this? This high here is what? 256. What's this high here? 250. All right, so say 256 is a point of reference. Not really a key area, it's just a point of reference. That's right here. So I guess this is realistic tomorrow. 12 points, that'd be another 1,000. We'll see. So that's what the spots look like now. Do I think this 218.26, 35% off the highs is the low of this coronavirus crisis? I don't know. That's why I've put 50% of my long-term money in stages. I told you that for my wife's account, whatever. And the 401k, I'm still going monthly. And Chase's 529, I pretty much added 50% to my monthly inflows, probably right around here. Not exactly the bottom, but started around here. So now we'll see. Do we get a counter trend rally to here or to here? Maybe. That's why I just said don't start shorting too early. Some guys are like, I'm shorting 238. I'm like, it's a first up day. Going up on some bad news. We'll see if that continues, but just take care. So anyway, that's that. The Qs definitely showed some. Actually, it's in line here. Showed. It's been showing leadership. I went and maybe today it didn't. Yeah, I guess it did. Here's the low. This is kind of nice now. If it could have like an inside day tomorrow and not open down too much and go sideways, maybe this is a tradable pivot to then get to there. If it opens above it, it's going to be hard to buy, but I would think there could be some continuation. This is your resistance. It's back above the 8-day. Here is here's your pivot low. As long as we hold this now, this new active trend might go to the upside, the same way this pro gap to the downside made the new active sequence this way. So hold on, what's Nike saying? Nike said that digital sales were really good. All right, anyway, so this is actually interesting. This is Shake Shack, hit that credit line. So here's this. It would be, again, no one wants it, but a little down open going sideways, then maybe you could buy it through here if it opens up. It's going to make it harder to buy, but you have some room. XLF did more of a feeble bounce. Remember, I'm like, is it going to be feeble or not? And got through this and went to, hey, the 8-day, look at that. I bought the Bank of America early in the day. Still has a little bit more room. I still have a little bit more on. For those of you who want to quickly, this guy's like, let me see your VTF. Well, you see how I did buy Bank of America at 947. It wasn't up much. That's what the VTF gets to see. I sold some and I held some. Where's Tesla? Hold on a second. Oh, here it is. So Tesla I bought pre-market. You could see that. I actually tweeted that to you guys. And then I bought a little bit more when it took out that 490, and then I traded it a bunch of times. Did pretty well. Apple, I shorted it first, and then waited, and then I did do that buy around. If you look here, 237, 238. That's when I tweeted to you guys and said, hey, Apple's saying that they're going to open up in April. I wasn't sure I was going to buy it, but then it looked good and I just bought it. And then you can see how I sold it literally, some 2 minutes later and then some 25 minutes later to make $3-4. And then I decided to sell some puts because I wanted to have exposure that way. So again, I know, Redler All Access, some guys like want to see everything that I'm doing, but that's not what this is. Redler All Access is to put my thoughts on paper in the morning and also in a video so you could align them with your thoughts and come up with strategies on how to make money and execute when the market opens. Every now and then, I'll tell you my executions if it's like a real play versus just feeling it out. But if you do trade all day long, I tell you all the time, you should be a member of the VTF also. There's lots of smart people on there that trade all day long that talk sometimes more than I talk. So anyway, this is the VTF, and I came in short. The 190s, I covered a little bit around 324 like I told you because I sold them yesterday 3 different times for like $1.20, $1.60, $1.80, and I bought them back for 8 cents. Why not? I also bought back some of these 220s. I came in, no, not the 220s, the 180s. I came in short. I covered a little bit into the highs. I'm like, hey, I sold those things for $3. They're now trading 50 cents. I might as well. That's a long way out. Let me get those off. And then just to have a little bit of overnight, I shorted today at 326, saying, hey, instead of taking the spiders home overnight, I could sell the 220s for like $2 and have $20 in in cushion. So that's again my thought process. But I did take some Tesla and I took some Bank of America and USO. I bought a little bit more on the dip, but we'll see what happens there. And this is everybody still talking about it. So let's move on. Actually, what did you do today? Look at that, XLE with the oil not even strong, went back to the 8-day. We'll see if there's any more room there. And then, all the high beta tech names. So everyone's like, hey, why friggin' didn't Amazon go up or Netflix? Because Amazon and Netflix been up every day while the market was getting crushed. So they still hung around. They still will be relatively better percentage-wise. They just weren't the ones today. You had to go with the bean down names. You had to go with some of the casinos. You had to go with some of the airlines. You had to go with some of the financials, which is why I'm like, hey, let me buy Bank of America. Bank of America was up what percentage? Up 15%. I probably caught 10% of it in Bank of America. These moves are friggin' crazy. Anyway, so we'll see. This is like your lower pivot. Can it go, there's a lot of room up. Does it go here to the 21-day? I don't know. So that's why just be careful just shorting the first day up, even though there's a lot of bad news, and there's still a lot of bad news out there. Like bad news that my forehead's so shiny and my hair doesn't cover it. Anyway, I'm only kidding. All right, so let's go to some stocks. Apple. I am short some puts. I didn't take it overnight, just in case. This kind of has your gap now to trade against. This is now nothing. Unfortunately, I did not buy it here into this 215 like we talked about. I actually got a little skittish and thought maybe it can get down to here. Didn't. So now we'll see if it works its way to the 200-day. If it gaps up, that's going to be resistance. If it opens a little lighter, we'll see if we have an inside day to then potentially take this out. What's this high here? This high here is 247.69. So 247.69. That's your next spot. Microsoft. This is your new level to be long against. Here's some resistance. Went as high as what? 149.60. So that's your point of reference. Today's high is 149.60. 149.60. So the next real level is here. If it opened up, I would not be buying it into this moving average. And this is like some bigger resistance up there. Amazon still above all the moving averages. It just, after a move from 1626 up to the 1900s, no one was in a rush. They were taking advantage of the dash for trash today, which was a good trade, better than Amazon. But if you're still in Amazon, it could be one of the names you're looking at. Maybe tomorrow, if it goes sideways a little bit, there'll be a trade through this 1960 area to get to 1990. Netflix also, which was more of a high during the high during the Corona move, whatever. Can move this up a little bit now. What's this low here? 353. Maybe it builds a little bull flag above 353, and you could buy Versa. We'll see how it opens tomorrow. I just didn't see no one, after a move like this, no one was in a rush to say, I have to buy Netflix to break out. Nothing's breaking out. It's more like, okay, again, what do I buy that's being down? What do I go with? Where's the best risk reward? And that was other things. But this can build, and then who knows, maybe at some point market gets better and they want leaders, it can go. Tesla, we did, again, like I said, very well with. Lots of good action here. SI's acted better lately. It seems that 350 could be the low for all. I sold puts last week and might do that again today. There's news that they produced that, which is awesome. It has room to 470 and gets cleared or rally to 500. That was today. Yeah, it went to 513. Nice move. I do think that it has some room to 540 to 560 for once. I wasn't going to take it home long, but I did anyway, just because I'm like, you know what? If it opens down, maybe it's Bible. If it opens up, I'll have something. Remember how good this was to us when it was above the 8-day this entire time? Well, that's when the 8-day broke. Sell signal number 1, sell signal number 2 at 7:55, and then you didn't have to cover it or be involved in this whole mess. But now look, hey, above the 8-day, so maybe there's a new active sequence with a pro gap to get it a little further. And I also sold puts, which I talked to you guys about in the first, 15, 20 minutes. We'll see. Some guys are upset Zoom was lower today, but you know what? Zoom had a big move, and Zoom is being considered, hide yourself there for the coronavirus. It's now a coronavirus barometer, but I don't really think so. I think that people will be using Zoom for a long time. It just was up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, so it's allowed a down day. So this low here is what? 133.88. We'll see. Maybe you get a red dog reversal tomorrow. Hey, if the futures open up tomorrow and this opens down, maybe you could buy the dip if you missed it. Okay, meaning you missed this move. Now this is 133.88. This really isn't a level here. And then your 8 days right there, so that's more of a spot. It's been above the 8-day pretty much, since it broke out right here. So maybe it's Bible into that, and then it could be an add if it reclaims that for a push, and then it rebuilds. It's had a long move. What else? Nvidia, I didn't play any of the semis, which were stronger yesterday. And look at this, gap up, penetrated resistance. So this is definitely something that's stronger than weaker. You now have a pro gap here. Obviously a long way below, but again, this is potentially the start of a new active sequence. What's this high here? 250, 266. I'm not in the mood to really go over more. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. It's been a long 2 days. I think we've been really doing as much as we can, or I've been doing as much as we can. Everyone's such a great team effort here on the VTF, and even with T3 Live, we're getting. Still, the videos are coming out at 8 o'clock. The recaps coming 4:10. The notes out there. I'm doing the charts. I'm trying to do everything I can. I even brought my sleeping bag in just in case all of a sudden the streets get closed. So hasn't happened yet, but. It is what it is. I've talked to you guys about the different, thought process. 3-4 weeks ago, I'm like, we're not doing enough. My cousin from friggin' Homeland Security in Italy is yelling at me. A month before that, my friends from China were yelling at me. And now we're talking about, we're seeing if, we're now the dirtiest, laundry in the closet until we peak. Some guys are saying we're going to peak mid-April to, or late April to early May. If we're peaking late April to early May, according to their models, there's no shot we're opening up where President thinks so. Everyone's going to be in quarantine. Numbers are going to be going up. The yin-yang fear is going to be everywhere. If we maybe peak earlier, I also told you that one of my videos this weekend that, they're talking to Washington about changing the message. The message was, hey, maybe July, August, which people like, no, there's no friggin' way. The message needs to be, after we peak, we'll have enough ventilators, we'll have enough masks, and we're going to quarantine the sick, and the healthy can go back to work if they want to. And, and all of a sudden the message changed. Look at that. Red Dog has some eyes and ears. Anyway, I try and pull everybody that I know. I've been sending my note out to people for 20 years. Some, very high places that you guys pay for, but, they don't, 100 of them. But they're all in very high places. So whenever they, whenever they have some color on something, they'll let me know. And I try and, give that, color to all of you. Oh. See, Facebook's coming out with news. 160. Weakening ad business for Facebook, but usage high. All right. With that said, have a good night, guys. I'm gonna go for a run with my son, and it was a great day. I might put on some spy shorts just to hedge all the puts that I have sold, just in case tomorrow we open up down. And then if we open up higher, I should be able to trade out of them. We'll see. I haven't done it yet. Good luck.